kitchen. So many recipes to share. So many cooks in the kitchen with meals for you to prepare. We've got fruits and grains, veggies and beans, more healthy food than you've ever seen.
Hello, my name is Dilip Barman. I'm a Food for Life instructor in Durham, North Carolina, and I'm delighted to be premiering a show called So Many Cooks in the Kitchen, which features a number of Food for Life instructors like myself. Today we have instructors from Italy all the way to the Pacific Northwest of the United States. And our intent is to do a rapid-fire show. Each person will have 6 to 8 minutes to show off some cool whole food plant-based dishes that they make. Food for Life is a nutrition education program of the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. It was founded by Dr. Neil Barnard in 1985, and one of the goals is to improve lives through evidence-based science and nutrition. Today, Physicians Committee has more than 12,000 physicians, dietitians, and scientists. There are about 300 Food for Life instructors like myself. We love and are passionate about food, whole food, plant-based eating, and we know something about nutrition. So I had this idea a couple weeks ago, especially in the context of COVID-19, that wouldn't it be nice to get some more whole food, plant-based nutrition information out there in a way that people can operationalize and do it in their own kitchens when they can't go to a class like an online Food for Life class. And so I asked other instructors and they said, let's do it. So this is our first time. I hope you will enjoy today. And it became, I think for me, that much more important in the era of COVID-19 because I read on a report from the Centers for Disease Control, CDC, that said that people with underlying health conditions like obesity, and there's about 93 million Americans who are obese, diabetes, another 34 million, chronic kidney disease, 27 million, cancer, yet another 27 million, or coronary artery disease, 18 million, are among those at the greatest risk for having severe outcomes if they do get COVID-19. People with one or more of those conditions constitute 94% of COVID-19 fatalities in the United States. And these numbers of people, that's a large number. It's more than half of the population. If you add up the 93 million, the 34, 27, and so forth, it's more than half of the United States. So that's sobering, but there's some good news, is whole food plant-based diet there's been ample evidence, longitudinal evidence, that it's a great way to go to help prevent a lot of these conditions, to help reverse these conditions in some cases, or to manage them if you do end up with those conditions. And so I think this is all the more important today. So let's launch into the first of the topics, and that's beans. Beans are the seed pods of legumes, and you can see legumes are here on our power plate. This is what we recommend people eat. Legumes, vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. So beans are a nutrition powerhouse. They're chock full of fiber. So for example, if you make a cup of black beans, a cup of black beans will have about 16.5 grams of fiber. We recommend 40 grams of fiber a day. Most Americans get maybe 15 grams of fiber. So your cup of black beans gets you almost halfway to our recommended 40 grams of fiber. Why fiber? Fiber satiates you. You eat it and you feel full and you feel satisfied. It keeps you regular, so when you eat and you're done digesting the food, you really don't want to keep it inside you. You want to let it go, and fiber helps with that. Fiber is also very useful because it can regulate cholesterol and blood sugar levels. Beans are a good source of folate, which is great for pregnancy and red blood cells. Beans are full of antioxidants. They can decrease your risk of heart disease and cancer, and they can decrease blood pressure. Now you might say, Dilip, this all makes sense, and I know beans are good for me, but I don't eat them because they don't like me. They make me uncomfortable, and I may even generate gas. If you're not used to eating beans, then there's a good chance that you will get some bloating or discomfort. But I have a couple tricks for you. One is, especially during times of social isolation, this is a great time to dive into beans. Spend the next week or two just regularly eating beans. Sure, you may generate gas initially, but your body will get used to it and will thank you. They'll say that your body will say, thanks for giving me this good nutrition, and it will readily digest the beans after some time, most likely. Or what you can do is you can soak beans, and you should soak beans. I'll talk about that in a moment. When you soak beans, put maybe a teaspoon of baking soda in your soaking water. Every 3 to 4 quarts of water, maybe a teaspoon of baking soda. Cook your beans to death. If you're cooking stovetop, a recipe that calls for an hour, try an hour and a quarter, hour and a half. If you're pressure cooking and you have a recipe for 8 minutes and you're still getting gas, cook it for 10 minutes. So there's no harm in overcooking beans a little bit. A lot of foods, the nutritional benefits diminish as you overcook, as you cook more and more. Beans are so full of nutrition, you're not going to have that problem. So make sure your beans are soft and nicely cooked. You don't want firm beans. Okay? And then you can also use ginger, either when you cook the beans or at the table. You can add ginger. Ginger really helps with gas as well. So those are some things you can do. Soak beans, cook them quite a bit. Use baking soda in the soaking water. Use ginger. Let's talk about how to cook beans. If you have dried beans, and I'll talk about these in a moment, you want to first sort through them. And I notice there's a twig now floating in the water, so I missed that. So sometimes there's some twigs or maybe a leaf. So sort through the beans and then soak it in ample water if you want to add some baking soda. This is this is black chickpea, kala chana, and it's used in Indian cooking. It's a really nice bean. It's good. It's nice and thick, and it's a chickpea, but it's a much denser chickpea. So soak it 5 to 8 hours. If you want, you can just put it in the refrigerator, and then it'll be good for about 3 days. So maybe on a Sunday, you soak it, and Tuesday you're ready for beans, you have pre-soaked beans. So soak it. When you're done, rinse it a few times, and then put it, let's talk about pressure cooking first. Put it in your pressure cooker. You can see in the distance I have my electronic pressure cooker. Any pressure cooker works. Put just enough water to cover the beans, with 2 exceptions. If you are cooking Great Northern beans or black beans, they need a little bit extra water. Otherwise, they're a little tough. So another 1/4 inch of water. Put it in your pressure cooker. I'm going to share a table, which gives you time of cooking. So typically it'll be 8 to 15 minutes, and you're done. You have cooked beans. Add an aromatic when you cook your beans. Add something like garlic or dried herbs, oregano maybe, or ginger, and that'll add some nice flavor. If you're cooking stovetop, it's exactly the same thing with the aromatics and soaking and all that. You put the beans in a pot. You add an extra 2 inches of water, and I remember growing up, my mom would put her finger in, and she'd estimate 2 inches, and then cook it. You don't want to keep it at a boil. Bring it to a boil and then simmer it. And you can cover it or half cover it. It's not that important. But you want to simmer it. You don't want to keep it at a boil because the skins can rupture and it also affects the flavor. And that's it. So stovetop, you can do that. It's just a much longer time. And of course, you can use a slow cooker. So there's many ways to cook beans. You can also use frozen beans. I like to have on hand some boxed or canned beans as well, because sometimes I'm in a rush. I come home from teaching and I have a hungry family, so I can quickly put together a side dish and have some beans ready to go, and I don't have to cook them. So it's nice to have a few prepared beans. There's all variety of dried beans. These are cannellini beans, Italian beans, white. The hardest thing about working with cannellini beans is knowing how to spell them. A cannellini bean has lots of N's and L's. This is a fava bean. I love fava beans. One problem I have with fava beans, though, is it's better with fava beans to remove the thick skin, and I have trouble with that. I've soaked it extra, and I've tried rubbing the bean. I don't get rid of the skin. So in my family, we're accustomed to fava beans with skins on. Some Middle Eastern specialty stores will sell fava beans without skins. These are anasazi beans. I don't know if you can see them. They're quite pretty. And one trick I have is when I buy foods, for example, in a bulk bin, I'll write on a piece of paper what the name of the food is and any hints about cook times or flavors or things that I've learned in the past to give me a reminder when I'm cooking. There's also all varieties of split peas. Split peas are great with vegetables. They cook quickly, very nutritious. Lentils of all kinds, so different colored lentils. So there's a wide variety. Today, with bulk bins, a lot of bulk bins are closed because of COVID-19, but there's a lot of packaged beans that are available. This brand, for example, I really like. They have some specialty southern beans like Lady Cream Peas, which are really tasty. So beans, I encourage you to eat beans, and we're going to hear from 11 other instructors who are going to show you lots of neat bean recipes, ranging from breakfast to dinner, and there's even going to be a healthy dessert. All classes that we teach can be found at the website fflclasses.org. And finally, I'm delighted to be executive producer of a film called Code Blue. It's an inspiring story of a person, she happens to be an MD herself, who was diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis. She did some research and found out there's a lot of evidence that whole food, plant-based eating and lifestyle changes can help control MS, and she's symptom-free now. So it's I hope you'll find a very inspiring story. We're releasing it online the day after Memorial Day, May 26, 2020, for streaming, and then a few weeks later in June you can buy it as a DVD. Check it out. codebluedoc.com.
Hi everybody, I'm Cindy Thompson. I'm with Trimazing. I am a health and lifestyle coach and retired fire captain outside of Seattle. And today I am carrying on the soy theme, and I am working with tempeh. So a lot of people have confusion about tempeh, so let's talk about what it is. So tempeh is made from a slightly fermented bean, and I'm going to make a blackened tempeh, by the way, today. It's usually soybeans, but it can be other beans or other grains, and they're held together into a cake by a fungus. It's like a mushroom. It's called rhizobus, and it is a great meat substitute. So as you can see here, I have cut my tempeh into 1/4 inch thick slices, and I am going to brush it with water, just real lightly, because I want my seasoning to stick to it. I'm gonna flip them over. And just a little bit of water. You could also use vegetable broth if you wanted. And then I have my blackening seasoning. And you can either use commercial blackening seasoning, or you can make your own, which I have in the recipe. This one I particularly like that I make. It has rosemary in it, which I don't actually see a lot in blackening seasoning. It gives it a really nice flavor. But blackening seasoning is a sweet, salty, savory, sometimes even spicy. You can change the amount of spice that you want, and adds just a really great color and flavor to food. Tempeh will take on any flavor that you add to it. So there is my tempeh that's all prepared. I've done both sides of it, and now I would put it in my pan. And I've already started it a little bit early so you could see how it's going. And we're gonna cook this as I'm talking about tempeh. So we're gonna put this dry in the dry pan, medium high. And we're not using oil. We're not gonna cook with oil, but it doesn't need it. The blackening seasoning is going to caramelize a little bit, and which is exactly what we want, because it's then going to turn kind of black. If things start to stick, you can add a little vegetable oil or vegetable broth or water, and that will help with that. It helps with the caramelizing. So now I'm just going to let it cook there for about 2 or 3 minutes. It goes pretty quick. So let's see. It's time to flip because I already had it going. You can see that it has caramelized and blackened. And I'm just going to let it do the other side. I'm going to add just a little touch of water and let it do its thing. So you'll find tempeh in the cooler section. This is a real popular brand, Light Life. It's in the cooler section with the tofu. Or you can also make tempeh yourself. This is tempeh I made in my Instant Pot. I cultured it. And if you're interested in that, you can go to trimazing.com, which is my website, to check out the blog to learn how to make your own tempeh from scratch. So people often think that tempeh is spoiled when they get it because there's black areas on it sometimes. You can see just some little black spots. And then if I turn it over, that there's quite a few like gray areas. And I see on Facebook, people say, oh my gosh, I bought tempeh, I opened up the package, it's already spoiled, I can't believe it. Well, this is normal. It is fine. It is just part of the fungus. It is like the dark gills under a mushroom cap where the spores are located. These are just where spores are starting to emit. You can eat that, it's perfectly safe, or you can trim it off if you don't like the color. Spoiled tempeh would be pink or green and it will smell bad. It won't have a nutty, mushroomy smell like tempeh usually has. But it's a great meat substitute and very digestible because the soybeans or the grains actually ferment as the tempeh is culturing. So if you have tried tempeh before and didn't really care for the flavor. It was too strong tasting. You can try simmering it in broth or steaming it over water for about 15 or 20 minutes before you prepare it, and it makes it more mild. But it's fully cooked in the package, and you can totally eat it as it is. So tempeh is just a great staple item to keep in your fridge or freezer. If you buy it packaged, it has a really long refrigeration time. In fact, this one's good through July 28th, and I just bought it. So it's great to have on hand so that you can make a quick meal anytime, quick and hearty meal. It also freezes wonderfully, up like 6 months in the freezer. So I keep tempeh in the freezer. You can put it in the fridge overnight, and it'll be thaw in the morning and ready to use. So it's a great staple item. So soybeans, we have had a couple of people talk about soybeans, and here's what soybeans look like. They're just a dried bean. And it's gotten a bad rap. There's been a rumor out there that soy has estrogen in it, and it does. It has plant estrogen, which all plant foods do. But it's not mammal or human estrogen. So it's a phytoestrogen, plant estrogen, and it's actually protective and really healthy. It blocks the bad effects of mammal estrogen, and it won't feminize a man or make him grow man boobs. It's wonderful to include in your diet. So we're going to include a link in the Facebook comments with some literature about the health benefits and how great soy is, and how adding it to your diet is a really good thing. So I think our tempeh is ready. We get a plate. So it's been a couple minutes. It doesn't take long. Sometimes I flip it a few times and let it get really caramelized. But I wish you could smell what this smells like. It smells so good. Spicy and flavorful, all the herbs in it. So this is blackened tempeh. Here you have it, you can see. It is great. It's, takes less than 10 minutes to make. You can put it in tacos or sandwiches, in wraps. You can crumble it up and put it in dirty rice. Really good in dirty rice. It's great in jambalaya or gumbo, or you can eat it just like this. It is super. And I wish we had smell-o-vision. It smells so good. So blackened tempeh, when it's cooked, will keep in your fridge about 2 to 3 days. That is if it doesn't get scarfed up immediately. But I do hope you'll try it out and let me know how it goes. So I do have upcoming classes, and you can check out on trymazing.com, which is my website, and check on the events links. I am working with another Food for Life instructor, Nancy Travis, and we're teaching a Boost Your Immunity in the time of COVID, and that's online. There's 2 sessions that are available for that. And then I'm planning to do one on helping balance your hormones this summer. You can check out my event page, also sign up for notifications on my website so that you get notified when those classes get posted.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining us today. So I'm Cody Stubbe, and I'm in Omaha, Nebraska, and I'm going to talk to you about legumes, specifically chickpeas, and I'm also going to demonstrate this healthy and delicious hummus recipe. All right, so legumes have so many health benefits, but coming from a cardiac nurse, let me tell you a few of my favorite ones. So legumes have potassium, which helps naturally lower your blood pressure. And also is a good source of iron, so that helps with somebody suffering from iron deficiency anemia. It also has fiber, and fiber is just awesome because it helps contribute to the elimination of extra cholesterol out of your body. So it's fabulous, very incredible. So those are just a few of those benefits. So let's get going on this hummus recipe. So it's going to be using one of my favorite legumes, which is chickpeas. All right, so, and this is a oil-free hummus. It's a classic hummus. It's pretty amazing. And I got this recipe from Forks Over Knives. They're, besides PCR, they're another great resource for low-fat recipes. So check it out. All right, so let's get to it. So we need about 2 cups, or it'd be about 1 can of chickpeas. And you can drain these and rinse them off. Now, save your aquafaba. I know everybody has mentioned the aquafaba, save it, because you can use it for other things like they've talked about before. So I have mine here just in case I need to put a little bit in it. All right, so we're going to put that in your food processor. Okay, and then 4 cloves of garlic, and then you can chop them up. I just minced mine. If you don't have garlic on hand, you can certainly just use probably about 2 teaspoons of powdered garlic, which works nice too. All right, so I'm just gonna dump that in there. And if you're not a huge garlic fan, you can leave it out. So we like garlic around my house. Let me tell you, I'm sure you can smell our breath. All right, next we're gonna put in a zest of 1 lemon. And I love zesting, it's just such a fun little thing to do. Okay. All right, you're also gonna use the lemon juice from that lemon. So it's gonna give it some nice flavor. And if you don't have fresh lemon, you can certainly use concentrated. Just kind of depends on what's available, what the grocery store will deliver for you, what's on hand. But usually I don't have problems finding fresh lemons. And lemon is also great in this recipe because I mentioned there's iron in legumes. And so with that, the vitamin C in the lemon or any citrus, that will help with the absorption of the iron into your body as needed. So it's incredible to do vitamin C and iron together. So keep that in mind for future reference. All right, so what else? We need 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds, and you can toast those if you like to do that. If you have the time, it usually just takes a minute, and you just toast them on a dry frying pan until you kind of smell them. It's just maybe a minute, and then you want to take them right off, and you can put them in just like a little grinder, like a coffee grinder, and then just scoop out however much you need for that recipe. And if you don't have that, I just have cumin powder on hand as well, so just sprinkle that in there. All right. And then you can put a little salt. Now, if you're watching your salt intake, so if you do have high blood pressure, you're probably watching your salt intake. So you can eliminate that salt. But if you're not worried about that, then go ahead and put a little bit of salt. And I use iodized salt just for your thyroid health. Okay, so we're gonna put that all in there. Okay, it's gonna turn it on. Shut it off here, and we scoop it down a little bit. So if it is looking just a little too thick, like I said, you can put just a little bit of that aquafaba. I just love that word. My girls get such a kick out of it. As creamy as you like. Little bit of this. If you don't plan on using your aquafaba right away, you might want to freeze it, and then it thaws out really good to use. You can also freeze your beans, which is pretty awesome. Oh, it smells delicious. All right, so again, this is very healthy. It doesn't have the extra oil, which you don't need, because even olive oil has saturated fat in it. It has maybe about 14% saturated fat, but that can contribute to cardiovascular disease because of the cholesterol formation. So, of the clogged arteries. So anyway, we want to avoid the extra fat in our diets. All right, so here it is. I'm just gonna have a snack. I'm gonna take this up to my kids in a little bit here, and we're just gonna chow down on this. So we love to dip stuff in it, vegetables. We also love to put this on like a pizza crust as the sauce, and then put our vegetables on top, and it's just delicious and adds a lot of great flavor, especially with that garlic in there. And you could also add like parsley in here and mix it up. It gives it a beautiful green color. I've even seen recipes that call for beets, which makes it a beautiful, vibrant pink color. And of course, with 3 daughters, they just love it. So it's pretty awesome. So what else do we do? Oh, we put it on hamburger buns or veggie burgers. That's also a really great way to eat it. So this is the recipe, and you can find me at Holistic Dish. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and email. So we'll have the contact information posted. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me here in Omaha, Nebraska.
So many cooks in the kitchen, so many recipes to share. So many cooks in the kitchen with meals for you to to prepare. We've got fruits and grains, veggies and beans, more healthy food than you've ever seen. So many cooks in the kitchen, plant-based meals to prepare. So many cooks in the kitchen, with ideas we're happy to share.